We know the moves the Pirates made and those they didn't. I'm not promising to make sense of what they did, but I sure have takes, and that's next on Locked On Pirates.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. Go to 5hourenergy.com today and use my promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your order. Only valid through September 30th. Order transfusion-flavored 5 Hour Energy shots today. Welcome to Locked On Pirates. I'm Gary Morgan. This was largely just gross. I mean, you can spend time assigning blame if you want to, but I think we all know who the targets at this point. So I'm just here to go through the deals and use that term lightly. I want to mix in some of Ben Cherington's post-deadline press availability and talk it through with you. I've done special shows on Hayes and Bednar, so some of what I say here might be redundant, but seeing the totality of what was done gives me perspective that I didn't have when either of those deals were made. Not that it helped much, but it could at least give me a little bit more, okay, well, what if they do this? Well, now we know what they did and didn't do. So let's go through them, if only because we really should, all in one place here. We haven't done that here on this show yet. David Bednar to the Yankees. Pirates receive catcher first baseman Rafael Flores, their number 8 prospect, Edglin Perez, Yankees number 14 prospect, and center fielder, or I guess really just outfielder, Brian Sanchez, unranked prospect. Bednar had a 2.37 ERA and 17 saves this season. He's been really good after coming back from AAA, especially. Thoughts on this? First, I'm seeing some reports out there that Ben Cherington had a better package on the table and ultimately decided to circle back to this one because he liked the package better. There was a higher prospect available somewhere else. I'm not sure where. I'm not even sure if it's true. It's being reported, but you know, these things that are sourced by one person here and there, I'm not 100% sure how accurate they are. You know what I mean? It could be one guy that didn't get his way in that room and just feels like talking. You hear what I'm saying? So I'm not really sure where to go with that, but it is being reported, and if so, it makes it even more frustrating. I told you what I thought about this deal in long form, but just in short form, in case you think something's changed in a day or two for me, not so much. I still don't like it. I still don't think it helps. I think even if it helps in 2026, it's going to be marginally because this kid's not going to get here till 2026, and we know how most prospects end up coming here. And I don't just mean here, I mean most teams. Most prospects don't come up and flourish from moment one. And this is a guy that I think creates some problems for you. This is a catcher and first baseman. You've got Spencer Horwitz, so I think you want to give a little bit of room to. And you got Henry Davis, which, okay, if you're going to call it quits on Henry Davis, I get it. This kid's got a better bat profile. But I don't think he's anywhere near the defensive profile of Henry Davis. In fact, I have doubts that he's going to stick at catcher. And if he doesn't stick at catcher, I gotta be honest with you, I think it's DH at best. And the other two, they're not going to touch this team anytime soon. Let's move on because we have time to worry about. Bailey Falter to the Royals. This one blew my mind, and I haven't talked to you about this yet. This blew my mind. They received left-handed pitcher Evan Sisk. He's like a 29-year-old reliever. They're sending him to AAA. I would imagine he'll be up this year. I'd imagine they see him being part of this bullpen for a few years as a left-hander. Okay. I don't mind getting him back. Kalen Moss seems like an interesting prospect, but he's pretty far down there. Again, the lower levels, just drafted in 2023 or 2024. I mean, it is what it is. That said, man, you didn't have to trade Bailey Falter. He had 3 more years of control. I'm not saying he had to make your rotation, but it started coming out that this team didn't want to pay his arbitration next year. Guys, I got to tell you, I don't know, as a podcaster, as someone covering this team, as a fan, I don't know how you can evaluate anything for this team moving forward. If $3 or $4 million in ARB1 for a pitcher that has given you what Bailey Falter has given you was going to be something that prices you out. If that's something you can't handle as an organization, even if you think he's going to be replaced in the rotation by younger, better options, that's a price you got to be willing to pay. That's nothing. That's nothing for a proven starting pitcher. And speaking of nothing, the return on that for 3 years of control for a left-handed pitcher. I just have to repeat that. Because here's what's going to happen now. And I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit because I'm just fired up about this one in particular. Next year, they'll be looking for a left-handed pitcher to be in that rotation. I wouldn't be shocked if they went out and signed another Andrew Heaney type. And that Andrew Heaney type, he won't be as good as Bailey Falter. It makes absolutely no sense. They'll end up paying $5, $6, $7 million for a guy that won't give you what Bailey would have for 3. It makes no sense. None. It certainly doesn't help you in 2026 unless Evan Sisk turns into an incredible reliever that throws about 55 innings and just is the quintessential lefty out of the bullpen that does everything. If he turns out to be as good as Caleb Ferguson was this year, okay. And even then, I would suspect you probably could have gotten him for Andrew Heaney. And I'm not lying. This didn't make any freaking sense. Period. Caleb Ferguson to the Mariners. Pirates receive Jeter Martinez, a 19-year-old prospect from Single A. I actually don't hate this one. This was a rental. You should get a rental return. That's what they got. I'm okay with that. I would have been okay with them doing it a few more times with some players they decided not to move. You got Ke'Bryan Hayes to the Reds. Boy, we talked this one to death already. But Sammy Stafura, great prospect. I really do like him. He's the Pirates' number 7 now. Taylor Rogers, they already went ahead and flipped on to the Chicago Cubs for another low-level nobody that we won't hear or see for a long time. Hayes wasn't good, and they're making room by getting rid of him. I have no problem with that. I've suggested it on this show, especially if you could get out of that contract or whatever. But I just feel like this return didn't make a lot of sense. I didn't understand exactly what they were. It was a dump, a salary dump. And a salary dump is fine as long as you actually refill it. That's the part that we don't trust them on. Adam Frazier, obviously, a couple weeks ago, it still counts as deadline deal. Cam Devaney, who the hell knew Cam Devaney was going to be the most realistic addition to the 2026 roster that they would receive in this entire trade deadline. Cherington didn't comment on every individual trade, but his general remarks kind of helped distill at least whatever he's calling logic for these things, okay? So on urgency and readiness, he said, we have to deliver better for our fans. Our intent is to be prepared to strike if we see something that helps us towards being better in 2026. Okay, so either they didn't see anything that helped them get better in 2026, or they just didn't pursue it. I'm sorry, nothing they did here really definitively helps them in 2026. We sent out 5 Major League Baseball players, and you can talk about their individual warts and everything else. We sent out 5 Major League Baseball players and brought back none. I don't see any way that you can spin that where this deadline improved 2026. On acquiring players with long-term control, he says, whether it's this week or the offseason, we may acquire players that jump right onto the roster or might soon jump on, or trade for players further along. That's not a changing course. Of course it's not a changing course, Ben. You just literally named all the different ways you could acquire players and all the different levels of where the hell they are in their development. Of course it didn't change because you've basically said we could do anything. On the type of players targeted, we're going to be acquiring players who are not fully proven yet, who we believe can contribute, but aren't fully proven yet. Gee, how inspiring for 2026 that will be the proving ground for them. On payroll movement, he says it's pretty easy because it's not about moving payroll. The exercise is to get better. Where? Where did you get better, Ben? I don't know how you say that. I don't know how you say that in a press conference. You didn't get better. You didn't get better. Let's talk in the next segment specifically, via his quotes, how this deadline set up 2026. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest, some days on the course or off it, you just need the extra boost to stay sharp and energized. I was on this hole the other day. It was an island shot, and all 4 of my buddies were like, we're going to make this shot. Not a single one of us made it. I wish we had had one of these 5-Hour Energies. Maybe it would have given us the boost we needed. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape, ginger, lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go to without chasing down the bev cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use my promo code LockedOnGolf to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. This code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. Hey, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. First of all, I want to just acknowledge all of you. I appreciate you sticking with me and again, finding all the different shows that I've offered you this week and just in general, being here and in a good spirit, a relatively good spirit. In other words, thanks for not taking it out on me. I'm just trying to tell you what's going on. I'm not trying to run cover for this team and what they do and why they do it. Okay? Not what it's about. So how does this really set up 2026, this deadline specifically? I knew Ben Cherington would get asked the question, and he got asked it multiple times, and he evaded it in multiple different ways. He repeatedly emphasized that the goal was 2026 competitiveness, not short-term fixes. Here's one of his quotes. Our focus is short-term, not necessarily August 2025, but how do we get this thing on track and win more games in 2026? Fine question. The question I think we all thought you were going into this deadline looking to address. I think we thought there'd be a lot more pickups along the lines of like Cam Devaney, guys who could step right in. We thought you'd start to clear out guys like Tommy Pham and Andrew Heaney and IKF and start making room for the prospects that we do have to come up here and try. And including some of the guys that you picked up in the process of the deadline. To me, that was the goal. To me, that's what we were trying to do. That's what we should have been trying to do. If you want to win more games in 2026, then it stands to reason that you have to improve on the roster. And that means you can't stick with the roster. It means you have to understand that the roster didn't work. I think we can all accept that. I think we can all accept that change needed to happen. But none of these moves touch 2026, not on their own. What we're being asked to do here, to me, is unfair. Okay? We're staring at a general manager who, at the very least, is on the hot seat. Okay? That's the lowest level of hell I can give. He's on the hot seat, right? And you make a bunch of deals at the deadline. None of them affect the 2026 team tangibly, except for to subtract talent from it. You know, you have taken away talent. And now I'm supposed to just sit here and wait for you to come back with Act 2? He kept referencing, like, wait till November. That's when we're going to continue this job. And okay. Well, if you're going to continue this job in November, are you telling me I got to sit here and just trust that the dumping you did at this deadline sets you up for November? In what way? I don't understand that. Third segment, I'm going to specifically talk about money. I think that's important to note exactly what they saved, and we'll talk about how they could use it. But just what he did actively, I didn't see it. Here's another quote. To win more games in 2026, we've got to score more runs. Einstein stuff here, right? Our pitching and defense have mostly kept us in games, but we're not scoring enough. Okay. Fair, valid, true. God, we've all said it. It's something that we've all said repeatedly. This was an offense problem. Get some offense in here. Some way, somehow. Trade some pitching for offense. Seems logical. Maybe it is a better thing to try to do in the offseason. I didn't even hear him say those words. That would have been more comforting than some of what he said. But this quote in particular, to win more games in 2026, we've got to score more runs. Our pitching and defense have mostly kept us in games, but we're not scoring enough. So we traded one of our starters who we had control of for 3 more years, cheap, our 2-time All-Star closer, and our all-world defensive third baseman. No matter what you think of Ke'Bryan Hayes, Ben Cherington just called out our pitching and defense has mostly kept us in games. And you traded away 3 very big pieces of that pitching and defense. And I'd been fine with it if you had brought back some of that offense that we're just talking about needing. We're not scoring enough. Nothing they did at this deadline will add to that. Nothing. That's what I can't get past. That's where I can't move past. We want to be opportunistic. If there are things clearly of benefit to the Pirates long term, that's our job. That aligns with the types of players they acquired, like Rafael Flores, Jeter Martinez, and Sammy Stafura. Long term, okay. I don't disagree. I don't mind getting more prospects in here, especially some of them have a power profile. I really don't mind that. They acquired some. Some of them are real far away. Some of them aren't. Understood all that. Thought for Reynolds, that's what I should expect. But opportunistic at this deadline needed to be about pouncing on things that could help this team in 2026. Like, let me throw an idea out at you. Like, the Rangers were rumored to want to be cutting salary. They wanted to dump some salary. And the Pirates need offense. The Rangers, at the same time as wanting to cut salary, would like to add bullpen help. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, let's see if they might want to be interested in David Bednar or something like, or Caleb Ferguson or somebody along those lines. If they want to cut salary, if they really want to cut salary, we can give them a rental reliever. Hey, I could even give them a reliever with a little bit of term if they want. I could find something like that. I've got plenty of them. I got a guy they could take a shot at, Kyle Nicholas. He's a 40-man guy. He was great last year, not so much this year. You want to dump salary, here's how I plan to help you. Take Kyle Nicholas off my hands and give me Adolis Garcia. He's only got one more year of arbitration. He's really struggled this year, but he still has 15 home runs, and he would step right in here and be a starting outfielder and probably hit the same amount of home runs, which is an improvement over what I currently have. Is it the final answer? Is it the best answer? Does it get us to the World Series? No. But it would have tangibly helped 2026. It's the type of thing I expected to see this team try to pull off. Get creative. Go help other teams dump the way they always come and help you. People stand here like it's a freaking breadline. Their hands out. Just expecting us to dump them stuff. And we do every single time. I have to step away again, but when I come back, we're getting into the money because this stuff adds up and I've got the totals. Today's episode is brought to you by Gameday Hue, and so is this hat I'm wearing. For the Pirates fans like me, who sometimes like to go out there and support my team colors, this one really hits the mark without the logo. Gameday Hue makes clean, no-logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on course, or anywhere in between. I love rocking it on the course because honestly, sometimes when I'm out there, I don't feel like answering Pirates questions or hearing Pirates comments, but I do want to rock the colors, so I like to do that. And it's not just hats. Check out cool split shade gloves made for the golf course or the perfect gift for the fan who has everything. I mean, I don't have everything, but I'll take a couple more of these gloves. They're pretty sweet. Right now, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GamedayHue.com. That's GamedayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals. So now is the time to load up. Let your colors talk because colors speak louder than words. That's GamedayHue.com. Code MLB15. Hey, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Hey, cream rolls everything around me. Get the money, dollar bill, y'all. That's exactly what we're talking about, the money aspect of things. At the deadline, the Pirates cleared approximately $18 million from trading Brian Hayes, Bailey Falter, David Bednar, and Caleb Ferguson. They saved another $16 million next year when Andrew Heaney, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and Tommy Pham all leave the books. And then $7.3 million more if you want to count Andrew McCutchen, Tim Meza, and Ryan Borucki. I think they'll probably bring Andrew McCutchen back, but all that totals up to about $41.3 million. Cherington's stance on payroll, again from his quotes. The exercise is not to move payroll. The exercise is to get better. We're open-minded. $41.3 million. How do you think they'll allocate that next year? Do you think it's a guarantee that $41.3 million goes right back into payroll? Their payroll before this trade deadline was sitting at about 92 million. There's a really, really good local source for this named Ethan Houlihan. He keeps detailed track, and I mean down to every call up and send down and waiver and everything they do. He details their payroll to the minute. And you can always go and check exactly what that figure is. It was 92 million right before the trade deadline. I'm waiting for him to recalculate it, but these numbers are pretty much telling me what it's going to be. Payroll is going to go down. And 41.3 million, just to kind of get back to where they were, is what we should start with in that magic month of November, right? That's the only way that this whole thing makes sense, is if these deals were done with an eye toward, we're going to create this bulk of money that we have and we're going to go out and spend it. If they do go out and spend that $41.3 million, I think you have a couple concerns there, right? One, you got to convince people to come to this team. And this team has not signed a free agent to a multi-year contract unless you want to count Harleen Garcia, who I don't believe ever, I think he maybe pitched one game for us before he got hurt and ultimately got traded before that last year ever took effect, for a player to be named later that I don't believe ever got named. So they haven't done it. But I think, like, you're talking about this kind of money. If you want a game-changing player, like, you really need some offense in here, right? You're going to have to replace. You're going to probably have to go out there with the mindset of, I'm going to try to sign somebody to more than 1 year. I'm going to have to take a swing at somebody. And you're probably going to have to overpay to get them here. Like, don't get me wrong. People want to play with, like, Paul Skeens and whatnot. But if you're a right-handed bat, okay, and you're not on your last contract, like, this isn't like Tommy Pham where you're just hoping there's one more year in there, or you're going out and getting somebody that nobody else seems to want and you're hoping for a rebound. That's the type of guy that the Pirates tend to go with. And Ben already primed us for it. Ben already told us, hey, we're going to get guys that aren't ready, and turn them into ready. So it doesn't sound to me like we're going to go out on the open market and try to sign some big free. Like, do you think we're going to go out and be a player for Eugenio Suarez? Do you think we're going to, that's how we traded Brian Hayes so we could make room to go out and get a big free agent third baseman that's going to come in here and hit in the middle of our order. It makes a ton of sense. You think you're going to go out and get Kyle Schwarber? They could afford him $41.3 million. You can't tell me they couldn't go and offer Kyle Schwarber $22 million a year to come here and play or something like that. I'm not saying he would. I'm not saying the Phillies would let him go ultimately. But those are two free agents that are going to be on the board, two big answers that could actually help improve this offense immediately in 2026, maybe even to a difference-making degree. Although Eugenio Suarez, I think you should look at his history and see that these home runs don't come every year. He's having an extraordinary year this year, but he doesn't always have that. And his defense is a little bit more questionable. But hey, that was a sacrifice I think you're willing to make. You traded your defensive specialist for the opportunity to add offense at that position. Do you think that's what they're going to do with the money? I don't. I think we're going to see Cam Devaney up here. I thought it was funny in his press conference. The only guy he named as somebody that might get an opportunity out of this third base situation was Jared Triolo. And that seems to me like if you thought Brian Hayes being defensively incredible and essentially not good on offense, not good enough on offense to be in this lineup, seems to me that you should probably have the same mindset for Jared Triolo. and what he's been able to do. Tremendous fielder. Again, I have no problem with him coming up and being a third baseman if he can hit, but he hasn't hit. And I don't want to go into 2026 assuming he might. But it feels very much so like that's what they're setting up. If Ben Cherington stays, to me, the path forward very much so is going to be more of the same. It's going to be trying to trust internal growth, trying to hope for rebounds from internal players, and signing one-year contracts of veterans to fill in holes around the diamond. And I don't think that's good enough. And I don't think it was worth shedding this salary if that's how you're going to reallocate it. And furthermore, and this is probably the main point, I just don't trust him to spend it the right way. And I don't trust Bob Nutting to let him spend all of it. And I don't trust them to reallocate dollars. And I don't trust them to do smart moves with any of their current players in order to bring in talent and eat salary, because they've never done it. There's a lot of smart things that I think I can come up with for how to keep this ball moving forward. I can come up with a detailed plan, and I'm sure I will. I've got 5 shows a week. I can come up with a detailed plan for how I would attack 2026. And I'm sure I will. And I'm sure some of you will buy into it. But even as it comes out of my mouth, I'm almost equally as sure they won't do it. I'm frustrated as a Pirates fan. I really am. I'm frustrated because of all the things they could have done at this deadline. The one thing I didn't think that we would see would be a step back. I thought stand still might have been worse. That might have been the worst situation we could have, is just stand still. This is worse than that. And again, I should reiterate, I don't have a problem with any individual that they traded. I have a problem with the return and the focus of the returns. And when you're trading controllable guys that you don't have to move because they've got another year or whatever, I just don't think that I can accept this was the best offer we got, because in my mind, that's not enough. Like, if I have a car I'm selling and I put a price tag on it for $5,000 and it's out there for about 3 days, and someone comes along and knocks on my door and says, I'll give you 3 for it. I don't think many people, including me, would go, well, yeah, sure, that's fine. 3,000 sounds fair. That's the only offer I got. I might as well take it. I think what I would do instead is just go, I think I'm just going to let that car soak out there a little bit longer and see if someone else comes along first. Maybe if I'm 2 months into trying to do it, I'm like, okay, hey, the market is telling me. But I saw the market for closers yesterday and the day before. And David Bednar is better than some of them. Disappointed, underwhelmed. They don't really do it justice. I'm disillusioned. This franchise is as confused as I've ever seen it, from top to bottom. I don't know who's in charge. I don't know who's going to be in charge. I don't know who's getting fired. I don't know who's getting brought in. I don't know if organizational changes are coming. I don't know if ultimately they're going to come back in that November when they're planning on doing all these other things and start moving off pieces that I can finally mark safe from the deadline of 2025. But I can tell you right now, the frustration level that this season started with, it's going to be amplified next year. You thought planes and billboards sucked last year? You thought chants at the stadium blew this year? Wait till next year. And that's if they're lucky. That's if people care enough to still do it. I got skin in this game, right? I do a show every week. Diehards are plentiful. Don't get me wrong. I'm still climbing. But this team, they didn't do anything to move the ball forward. Not at this deadline. Not at all. And it's rich to expect us to just accept it and move on and wait for November to see the rest of their brilliant plan. Why do I already know I'm going to be doing spring training shows next year where I'm telling you things they didn't address that they should have addressed and money they left on the table? Don't lose that $41.3 million number, because we're going to talk about it next year. And if the salary doesn't at least hit exactly what it was this year, I'm going to first of all call bullshit. And second, I'm going to wonder why it wasn't 20 more. Because really the payroll should be slanting up. You should be moving into a place where you're spending 110, 120 now. So really that 41.3 that's all cleared, that should be 61.3 at least. And you should be able to get whatever you want or need with that in order to move this excellent pitching staff into some kind of playoff situation. That should be more than enough to get you 2 quality bats, if you have the balls to sign them. I need this weekend real bad, guys. I really do. And I think you all do too. Playing Colorado, probably the perfect storm for them. See if they can go ahead and get 3 wins against Colorado. Last time they played a team they should have beat, they got swept in the White Sox. We'll see if they can make this one any better. That's all I got for you this week. I think I've done 7 shows this week, so like on the Locked On Network. So at 8, if you count MLB Squad, make sure you check that out. That's going to be on the feed too. Thanks, everybody. Good stuff. Let's go, Bucks. Yeah.